The movie begins by showing a soldier named John Wood who is being interrogated by his superior, Commander Stone, about his actions that blatantly disobey orders from his superiors. In front of him, Commander Stone is holding John's wife, Amelia, to force him to reveal information regarding the villagers rescued by John. Even though John had said he didn't know where the villagers had fled after he had let them live, even though it was against the orders of his superiors, Commander Stone still killed Amelia by shooting her dead right in front of him. The scene then switches to showing John, who wakes up from his sleep. It's been 3 years since Commander Stone killed his beloved wife, but he will never forget it for the rest of his life. After Commander Stone kills Amelia, John manages to escape into the wilderness. He then decided to live in the middle of the forest, away from the human population as much as possible, to find peace of mind, where he tried to rise from adversity. The scene then switches to events in the past, when John was still a soldier who joined a mission to execute all villagers suspected of having contracted a highly contagious and deadly virus. Since it has not been clinically proven that the villagers were actually exposed to the deadly virus, John decided to save some of the villagers by helping them escape before the soldiers executed them.
Get down!
Traitor! Leave him alone!
However, Commander Stone later discovered his actions, so he was considered a traitor. John did not care if he was tortured or even killed for not carrying out orders from his commander.
Take him alive! Get over here, you little fucker!
But he didn't expect Commander Stone to use his wife to threaten him, even to the point of killing Amelia. That night, while mourning his wife's death in front of the bonfire, John was startled by a noise in the bushes nearby. He immediately grabbed his axe just in case. But then, a woman who appeared to be seriously injured appeared from behind the bushes and collapsed unconscious in front of him. John immediately lifted the girl's body and carried her into the hut without thinking. The next day, the girl named Maria finally woke up and was very surprised when she saw John asking how she was. It turns out that Maria is a survivor who has a rare blood type, which makes her immune to the deadly virus. Seeing Maria, who was scared, John then assured Maria that he would not hurt her and only intended to help her. John then told Maria that the wound had to be treated immediately. The bullet lodged in her body had to be removed immediately before it caused an infection that further aggravated her condition. Due to limited medicine, John tried to remove Maria's body's bullet with makeshift equipment.
How did you get your...
John was quite surprised to learn that it was a tracking device instead of removing a bullet from Maria's body. A few hours later, Maria finally woke up and told John her story, where she had to keep running because she was a living vaccine. Maria said, "Whoever controls vaccine controls virus." The next day, while John was chopping wood, 3 soldiers approached him who asked where Maria was. John then lied and said that he had not met anyone. But when the soldiers were about to check into his hut to look for Maria's whereabouts, John immediately killed 2 soldiers, while one soldier who managed to get into the hut was shot dead by Maria.
With the virus, you know. Search your place.
John then told Maria to hide if someone came looking for her, but Maria assures John that she can help him fight them. John then asked Maria to get ready because the rest of the soldiers would be arriving soon after realizing that their 3 comrades had not returned. Meanwhile, elsewhere, the soldiers' superiors, a woman named Granite, asked one of her henchmen why 3 men had not returned when patrolling the forest. The man then tells Granite that he will send the other soldiers to investigate in the forest.
Break it up! Your job.
That night, Maria, who was worried because the soldiers must have known the location, then invited John to run away from there. John said that the soldiers would return with more numbers. Nevertheless, he was not afraid to face them and had no intention of running away. John then told Maria about his past, when he was still a soldier, and also about the death of his wife who had been infected with the virus and was killed by his commander just because he did not obey the commander's orders. Hearing John's heartbreaking story, Maria tried to calm him down. The next morning, John and Maria began planning and preparing barricades to defend against enemy attacks. John then took out some weapons and ammunition to confront the soldiers. After that, he taught Maria to shoot to be more skilled in shooting.
You know to say.
Go ahead.
What did you say? No one is innocent.
Not long after, seeing the soldiers who were about to storm John's hut, one of them managed to ambush Maria, while the other tried to attack John, who was hiding in the toilet.
Good night.
Easy.
If you don't let me leave with her.
But John manages to bring down the soldiers and knocks out a man who ambushes Maria with arrows. Even though they had dropped the soldiers, John and Maria didn't necessarily breathe a sigh of relief because Commander Stone and Granite would definitely send more troops to capture Maria and kill John. Maria, who was worried because the troops that would come next would be much more numerous, was then convinced by John that they would be able to deal with it by showing the stockpile of weapons and ammunition that John had prepared for an attack like this. Maria was no longer worried, and they immediately prepared all the weapons and ammunition needed to deal with the troops sent by Granite and Commander Stone. The next day, Maria sits by the lake as she acts as bait to distract Commander Stone's troops. Sure enough, Commander Stone's men immediately caught her not long after that.
Yeah, it's her.
Because their mission was to capture the living vaccine, Commander Stone ordered his men to leave immediately, taking Maria with them. However, when the soldiers were about to leave, John immediately attacked and knocked them down. However, Commander Stone turned out to have prepared several troops to attack John. After overthrowing the first army, Commander Stone then sent the next army. However, John and Maria paralyzed them all with solid cooperation and John's excellent fighting ability.
Bad. I have orders not to kill you.
Ciao, Bella.
Knowing that two of his troops had been brought down by John, Commander Stone then ordered Granite to send another army. When the troops arrived and explored the area around John's hut, they found a tunnel that was once used as a gas pipeline leading to a location near their base.
Granite, come in over to hell.
One of the soldiers then reports his findings to Commander Stone, who responds that he will prepare troops to stand guard at the end of the tunnel if John or Maria intends to escape through the tunnel. But then, John and Maria manage to paralyze the entire army.
Where does it lead?
Forcing Granite to intervene directly to lead the remaining soldiers to capture Maria and finish off John. At the same time, Commander Stone would wait at the end of the tunnel. Granite and her squad managed to locate Maria and sedate her, then lead her away from there through the tunnel. In contrast, one of the formidable soldiers manages to immobilize John and knock him unconscious. Not long after, John finally regained his senses and immediately chased the soldiers who brought Maria by cutting the path through a shortcut that only he knew. John caught up with the soldiers who had taken Maria away and dueled the man in hand-to-hand combat in no time. At first, John was quite overwhelmed because the man was quite tough and able to keep up with his attacks. After launching several deadly attacks, he knocked his opponent down and saved Maria. However, the presence of John and Maria in the tunnel seemed to have been anticipated by Granite, who immediately ordered her troops to attack them. Gunfire was inevitable in the tunnels, and despite being outnumbered, John and Maria were able to withstand the onslaught of the Granite forces. But the two of them then became desperate when another army came and attacked them. Having no other choice and to save Maria, John then asked her to hide in one of the small rooms at the corner of the tunnel while he would fight the entire army alone. Maria insisted on helping John and didn't want to let John struggle alone. But John assured her that he could face them all alone, and he wanted Maria to live. After paralyzing all the soldiers in the tunnel, John finally arrived at the end of the tunnel, where Commander Stone and his troops were already there. Without further ado, Commander Stone immediately asked John where Maria was. But John then lied and said that he had killed Maria. Granite, who was there, immediately knew that John was lying because he was trying to save Maria there. Commander Stone then orders his men to torture John for information on Maria's whereabouts, as he did 3 years ago when he tried to dig up information about the villagers who were rescued by John.
Be easy, John. Doesn't have to be high school.
Enough!
After being beaten badly by Commander Stone's henchmen, John is finally willing to say where Maria's hiding location is, as long as he is willing to fight one-on-one with him. Feeling belittled, Commander Stone then accepts John's challenge. The two big and tough men had a fierce duel.
You join your wife in hell!
But Commander Stone cheated when he was in a state of urgency and immediately pointed a gun at John. Even so, John did not flinch and continued to step forward in front of Commander Stone, until finally he managed to overthrow the commander in front of all his men. After Commander Stone died, Granite seemed happy that now she would finally be in complete control. Granite seems to have been ordered by Commander Stone, who often acts arbitrarily. Shortly after, Maria finally emerges from the tunnel holding 2 grenades and threatening to blow herself up if they kill John. Maria tells Granite that she will turn herself in if John is kept alive. Without thinking, Granite immediately agreed to Maria's request. The film ends by showing John, who can only be silent watching Maria being taken away by Granite and her troops. The moral of this film is that we should never lose our conscience and sense of humanity in ourselves just because we are in critical situations such as war and disaster. As John showed, he decided to go against his superior's orders to save the villagers who had not even been proven true if they are exposed to a deadly virus.